Okay, so now we'll address the important topic of grading in your DE class. Grades are, of course, the ways that we go about assessing student work in the class. They appear on a student's transcripts. They can certainly impact things like financial aid, scholarships, and admissions to a four-year school, a UC, a CSU, and so forth. And typically, most schools give out an A, B, C, D, or F, which is how we currently grade here at the college. We do not have, in case you're curious, a plus-minus letter grade system. We have straight letter grades, A, B, C, and D. Now, typically grades are connected to a grade point. We don't put it in as a grade point average, but a lot of people like to think of it that way. In Canvas, by the way, there is a way for you, for an A, to set your percentage if you want to do a curve or something like that. If you feel like an A is an 89%, there's actually a way to set that up in Canvas under the Gradebook. Now, grades, of course, are always associated with a gradebook. In the old days, it was a traditional gradebook. I remember using these in the late 90s, doing grades, and then having to have a ruler and manually add up look at the rows and the columns and the students and so forth. Some people today will have a personal spreadsheet. You can certainly do that on Microsoft Excel, have the equations to add things up for you. Maybe you have a way of grade calculation that you like that isn't provided by the other two gradebook options. But the main gradebook option for you as a DE instructor would be either through Canvas or Passport. So Passport is a system that you log onto, and it has your course rosters and also your gradebook there, which is actually a gradebook that's different than your Canvas. These two do not communicate with one another. If you have any concerns about this, you can reach out to me, Trevor Thomas, or John Kingsbury, who's done a lot on campus in terms of our gradebook. Canvas has a gradebook. You can set up all your assignments in there, all your points, and what you would do at the end of the quarter is get your final letter grades, A, B, C, D, or F, and then simply type those in or cut and paste. You could do this with your keyboard into Passport, and that will ask you to submit your final grades. You don't have to put in all the categories. I would advise you to decide on which of these you want to use for your main gradebook and then go forward. Canvas is pretty good because the students can access it. They can also access Passport, but the nice thing about having in Canvas is all your work is being done within that LMS, and thus it's pretty easy for you and the students. One tip for us is it's extremely important that grades be turned in by their due date. If we don't do this, it really does mess up student transcripts, so we will ask you to hold firm to those dates that are set up by our One Stop, our admissions, and Steve Berry, our Director of Admissions. Another tip is that grades can be a source of great emotion. If a student comes up to you virtually in Canvas and says, hey, you know, I really need an A in this class to graduate or to get a scholarship or to stay on financial aid, I think you always need to tell them that grades are not negotiable. Grades are not based on emotional content. They're not based on financial need or life need. They have to be based on objective standards that we as legitimate instructors in our DE classes establish at the beginning of the quarter. So again, have a watertight syllabus in case of a grade dispute. I will say this time and again. So let's continue to our next block.